Hey everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happened? What's shaking on your Thursday? Hope you're having a good one. Tonight we are going to tell you all about the legendary life and career of Gene Hackman. We're going to get into all of it. There's actually some relatively late breaking news regarding his demise that's come out this afternoon, so we'll cover that too. Paused Up Patriot is here. Glad to see him. Gilman is here. Doc Dorn is here. I'm sure other people are here. And if they are here, I would like to ask you, please like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all those free things, especially that like, especially that subscribe, that you can do. Don't cost you a penny, that help us with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-seeing algorithm. Plus, we have super chats and memberships, which we always appreciate because they help us pay the bills around here. Lastly, turn on those gifted memberships. Very generous, philanthropic people around here. Well, they do give away, out of the goodness of their heart, free gifted memberships that allow you access to that exclusive members-only content that you so desperately crave and so rightfully deserve every weekend. All right, let's get into it here. This is gonna take a lot because Gene Hackman was an amazing actor. He's in movies that all of us can quote. There's a movie or two of his, especially one that is near and dear to my heart. I would imagine everybody has that same experience. But there's so much to cover that we're going to get right into it. Eugene Allen Hackman was born on January 30th, 1930. His career spanned over 4 decades, 2 Academy Awards, 2 BAFTAs, the British Academy Film Awards, and 4, count them 4, Golden Globe Awards. Those 2 Academy Awards were for his portrayal of Popeye Doyle in The French Connection. Yes, if you haven't seen that movie, oh God, is it good, and is he good in it? He also had a Best Supporting Academy Award in Unforgiven, playing the villainous sheriff. He was nominated 3 times in addition, once for playing Buck Barrow, the brother of Clyde Barrow in Bonnie and Clyde back in 1967, a college professor in the drama I Never Sang for My Father in 1970, and the FBI agent in Mississippi Burning. But that was just the tip of the iceberg for Gene Hackman. He was Lex Luthor in Superman and a couple of those sequels. He was amazing in the original Poseidon Adventure. His favorite movie, his favorite that he ever did, was a film called Scarecrow, which a lot of people haven't seen, but it's Gene Hackman and Al Pacino. And it is an amazing film about 2 men traveling from California to start a business in Pittsburgh. I imagine that film will be receiving some additional attention with his passing. He was in The Conversation, which was a Francis Ford Coppola movie that was highly acclaimed. A Bridge Too Far, Under Fire, Loose Cannons with Dan Aykroyd, The Firm with Tom Cruise, The Quick and the Dead with Sharon Stone and Leonardo DiCaprio, The Birdcage with Robin Williams, Enemy of the State, Behind Enemy Lines. Got a lot of critically acclaimed reviews for The Royal Tenenbaums in 2001 and Runaway Jury. He retired from acting after starring in Welcome to Mooseport in 2004. Now, Eugene Hackman was born in San Bernardino, California, and he had a brother named Richard. He has Pennsylvania Dutch, English, and Scottish ancestry. His mother was a Canadian. She was born in Ontario, and his family moved frequently, but they finally settled in Danville, Illinois, where they lived with his English-born maternal grandmother, Beatrice. Now, when Gene Hackman played Coach Norman Dale in Hoosiers, he commented frequently that he felt he knew the farm culture and the basketball culture of Indiana because he had lived in Danville, Illinois. His father operated the printing press for the Commercial News, which was the local newspaper in Danville. And Hackman had decided, he said, at age 10, that he wanted to be an actor. His parents divorced when he was 13, and his father left very shortly thereafter. He lived briefly in Storm Lake, Iowa, and spent his sophomore year at Storm Lake High School. But at the age of 16, just 3 years after his parents were divorced, he saddled up, lied about his age, and enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, serving 4.5 years as a field radio operator. He was stationed in China when communist revolutionaries conquered the mainland. In 1949, he was reassigned to Hawaii and Japan. After being discharged in 1951, he moved to New York City, where he worked at various jobs. In 1962, his mother died in a fire she accidentally started while smoking. Began a study of journalism and television production at the University of Illinois under the GI Bill, but left without graduating and moved on back to California. Let's see here if I've got any comments we need to get here. Is this about Hugh Jackman? Anyway, people saying hi. We do have the most cheerful chat room on the internet, as verified by independent sources. Metal Maiden Vicky is here. People saying hi. Metal Maiden Vicky says, sorry to hear of Gene's passing. Strange story about his death, too. Very sad. I will update you on that story. There was just a press conference and a police report was issued just a few hours ago, and I think there's been some updates even more recently. The Wolf is here. People saying hi. 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 Back to California. That's the place to want to be. So he packed up his truck and he moved to, well, somewhere out there. I don't know that it was Beverly Hills, that is. Swimming pools, movie stars. Before I get too much further down the line, he was a private first class in the Marine Corps. He was a part of the occupation of Japan. When we still occupied Japan after the war, that's how old Gene Hackman was. Died at the age of 95, just reported yesterday. Not necessarily the day he died, and we will get into that too. He had a National Defense Service Medal, a China Service Medal, and a Navy Occupation Service Medal while in the service. So there you are. Let me see. Do you think it was a murder-suicide? We don't know. I would doubt that. And you will doubt that too after I read you the details a little bit later on. I think he meant California. You get to say that because you live there. Wolf. Chief says Chef is in the house. Chef says Chef is in the house. Good to see him. I think Doc says, may Odin welcome him home, and the chef is indeed on deck. So in 1956, and by this time Gene Hackman is already 26 years of age, he began pursuing an acting career. He joined the Pasadena Playhouse in California, where he befriended another aspiring actor, and an actor that would become a lifelong friend. Dustin Hoffman, also at the Pasadena Playhouse. He was seen as an outsider by classmates, and so was Hoffman, and both of them, get this, both of them were voted least likely to succeed by their fellow actors who are those people? Anyway, Hackman got the lowest score the Pasadena Playhouse had ever given at the time. He was determined to prove all of them wrong, and he often in interviews said that all of the people that told him he couldn't do it, all of the people that panned his ability, they were the ones that made him even more determined to succeed. He moved to New York City, and in an article in Vanity Fair in 2004, he said that himself, Dustin Hoffman, and another struggling actor by the name of Robert Duvall all became very close friends and started sharing New York apartments in various two-person combinations during the 60s. To support himself between acting jobs, Gene Hackman was working at a Howard Johnson's restaurant. And that's when he ran into one of his instructors from the Pasadena Playhouse, who said the job working in the restaurant proved that Hackman wouldn't amount to anything. A Marine officer who saw him as a doorman said, "Hackman, you're a sorry son of a, you know the word." Rejected. No, that motivated him even more. He was quoted as saying, "It was more psychological warfare because I wasn't going to let those effers get me down. I insisted with myself that I would continue to do whatever it took to get a job. It was like me against them. And in some way, unfortunately, I still feel that way. But I think if you're really interested in acting, there's a part of you that relishes the struggle. It's a narcotic in the way that you're trained to do this, and nobody will let you do it, so you're a little bit nuts." Just described my entire radio career. You lie to people, you cheat, you do whatever it takes to get an audition, to get a job. And he did get jobs, various bit roles. His very first on-screen appearance was in a film called Mad Dog Call on, a movie with, I believe, Telly Savalas. And multiple TV series. Tallahassee 7000, which was a Walter Matthau TV series. The United States Steel Hour, Route 66, Naked City, The Defenders, The DuPont Show of the Week, East Side, West Side, and Brenner. Hackman began performing in several off-Broadway plays, starting with The Saintliness of Marjorie Kemp in 1959, and including several others. He made his Broadway debut in Children from Their Games, which had a very short run. Any Wednesday, with an actress by the name of Sandy Dennis, and I believe she also won an Academy Award, was a huge Broadway success in 1964, and this opened the door to film work. His first credited role in films, credited that is, was with Gene Seberg and Warren Beatty in the leading roles. He returned to Broadway for a few years, but he kept doing television. The Trials of O'Brien, Hawk, which was a Burt Reynolds series, The FBI, which we covered here extensively with our good friend Ed Robertson, and he had a small part as Dr. John Whipple in the epic film Hawaii. He had small roles in features like First to Fight, A Covenant with Death, and Banning. Banning was a Robert Wagner movie, which is really strange. It's about a golfer that gets caught cheating. It's weird. He was originally cast as Mr. Robinson in The Graduate, but director Mike Nichols fired him 3 weeks into rehearsal for being too young for the role. Also in 1967, he appeared in an episode of the TV series The Invaders, one of my favorites, titled The Spores. But his first sort of slightly starting to break out from the pack role was as Buck Barrow, the brother of Warren Beatty, or Clyde, in 1967's Bonnie and Clyde, which earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. He returned to Broadway that same year, and even off-Broadway in several plays. He was in an episode of The Iron Horse, which is a Dale Robertson Western that's largely forgettable. In 1968, he appeared in an episode of I Spy, which was a big show at the time, and he starred in the CBS Playhouse. In 1969, he played a ski coach in a Robert Redford film called Downhill Racer, and he was brilliant as an astronaut in a very, very, very good, I won't call it science fiction, although it's fiction and it's about science. He was an astronaut in a show called Marooned, a film called Marooned. He also played a barnstorming skydiver in The Gypsy Moths. He supported Jim Brown. Yes, legendary football player and actor Jim Brown in two films, one in 68, one in 69, The Split and Riot. And get this, you're not going to believe this, but I'm going to tell you anyway. Gene Hackman nearly accepted the role of Mike Brady in The Brady Bunch, but his agent advised that he decline it, and in good decision making, he did. He was nominated for his second Best Supporting Actor Academy Award for his role in I Never Sang for My Father. He starred in The Doctor's Wives and The Hunting Party. But then in 1971, he won an Academy Award, as we mentioned earlier, for his role as Popeye Doyle in The French Connection. And at this point, Gene Hackman was a bona fide star. And Gene Hackman was also known throughout his career for working a lot. After The French Connection, Gene Hackman starred in 10 films over the next 3 years, making him by far the most prolific actor in Hollywood during that time frame. He was in Cisco Pike, Prime Cut. Prime Cut is an amazingly good film with Lee Marvin and Gene Hackman. He was brilliant as the Reverend in The Poseidon Adventure. We mentioned Scarecrow earlier with Gene Hackman and Al Pacino, and that, as I mentioned, was his favorite role of his entire career, and it did win the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival. Then he was in Francis Ford Coppola's The Conversation in 1974, which was nominated for several Oscars and also won the Palme d'Or at Cannes. That same year, Hackman appeared in what would become one of his most famous comedic roles. Now, a lot of people may not know this, and a lot of people, because I, for many years, did not know this. You've seen the film Young Frankenstein. And there's the scene when Peter Boyle, Frankenstein, goes to the home of the blind man. Uncredited, Gene Hackman played the role of that blind man. And once you watch it, he's got lots of makeup on. And who is that? Who is that? Well, guess what? Gene Hackman. Maybe you knew that, maybe you didn't. But that's who it was. Gene Hackman himself. He also appeared in Zandy's Bride and Night Moves from director Arthur Penn. He played one of Teddy Roosevelt's former Rough Riders in one of my very famous westerns, which is Bite the Bullet. If you've never seen Bite the Bullet, it's the story of a transcontinental race, and he plays a former Rough Rider in it. It's very good. He starred as Popeye Doyle again in French Connection 2. He starred in a movie that I was really into as a kid, and we thought it was awesome, my brothers and I. And I've seen it recently, and it sucks. It's very, very bad. It was called Lucky Lady, and it starred Burt Reynolds and Liza Minnelli as well as Gene Hackman. He made the Domino Principle for Stanley Kramer, and then he was in that blockbuster cast of A Bridge Too Far, playing Polish General Stanislaw Sosabowski. And he was an officer in the French Foreign Legion in March or Die. He showed a talent for comedy and sort of a slow burn as Lex Luthor in Superman the movie, a role that he would reprise in 2 sequels. There we go. Let's get to some of your comments before we move along any further. And let me put up a different picture of Gene Hackman just for your own perusal there. That would be great for you. Let me see here. Where did I leave off? Okay, Mike Rodick is here. Hello, Coach. Hello to all my friends in chat. Oh, hey, Tom. Doc, people saying hi. Metal Maiden Vicky says, yeah, actors never work in restaurants before hitting it big. Yeah, they all work in restaurants, as Metal Maiden Vicky knows. People saying hi. People saying hi. People saying hi. People saying hi. Metal Maiden Vicky says, wow, I never knew he was asked to play Mike Brady. Yes. 12th Man says, yeah, he did one with Clint Eastwood too. Thanks. Let's see here. Doc says, blessed Freya's Day to ye all. Thank you so much for the $2, Doc. And of course, for every donation here on the Tom Gulley Show, you will receive the point. There you are. The point. Highly coveted And Doc Torn, thank you. You are so, so generous. We appreciate it. Middlemain Vicky says, did not know that about his role in Young Frankenstein 2. Wonder why he was not credited. There's a whole story behind that. He was apparently looking for something to do. He knew Mel Brooks, and he wanted to be uncredited. He was actively, I think he had a movie that was a flop or something and had wanted to be uncredited. Gilman says he agrees. Super. So he alternated between leading and supporting roles during the 1980s. He was in All Night Long with Barbra Streisand. He supported Warren Beatty in Reds, played the lead in Eureka, and a supporting role in Under Fire. Under Fire, I believe, was the Kevin No, that was Nick Nolte and Joanna Cassidy. Sorry about that. Two of a Kind, he played the voice of God. He starred in Uncommon Valor, which was a movie about Gene Hackman getting some guys to go over and rescue his son in Vietnam, I believe. Misunderstood, Twice in a Lifetime, Target, Power, another movie. Between 1985 and 1988, he starred in 9 films, making him the busiest actor along Steve Guttenberg. Then he came to play a role that is one of my favorites that he ever played, because it's one of my favorite movies, and that is Hoosiers. Being from Indiana, that movie so perfectly encapsulates Indiana. Not surprising, the writer and the director were also from Indiana, but he was perfect as Coach Norman Dale. And that movie, I can quote the lines, every single line, backward and forward. Actually worked on that movie. It was quite a film. Many polls point to Hoosiers as the best sports movie of all time. He voiced the nuclear man in No Way Out. He also played another one of his sort of villainous characters. Split Decisions, Bat 21, which to me is a remake of Uncommon Valor, but that's just me. And he starred in the Woody Allen movie Another Woman. He starred in Mississippi Burning in 1988 and received another Academy Award nomination for Best Actor. He also appeared in The Package. He starred in Loose Cannons, which was a buddy cop film with Dan Aykroyd. He had a supporting role in Postcards from the Edge. He appeared with Ann Archer in Narrow Margin, Class Action, Company Business, and then he played the sadistic sheriff Little Bill Daggett in the Western Unforgiven, directed by Clint Eastwood. Hackman pledged at that point to avoid violent roles, but Eastwood convinced him to take the part, which earned him his second Oscar, and this time for Best Supporting Actor. By the way, that film also won Best Picture. In 1993, he appeared in Geronimo, an American Legend, as Brigadier General George Crook. He starred with Tom Cruise as a corrupt lawyer in The Firm. He was in The Chamber, playing convict Sam Cahill on Death Row. He played jury consultant Rankin Fitch in Runaway Jury. Other notable films he appeared on during the 90s included Wyatt Earp, The Quick and the Dead with Sharon Stone, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Russell Crowe. And he played Submarine Commander Frank Ramsey alongside Denzel Washington in Crimson Tide. I have a good friend that Crimson Tide is his favorite movie. Okay, gotcha. The Conversation, as we mentioned earlier, that was during the 70s, but that was kind of Francis Ford Coppola's first movie of great acclaim, and Gene Hackman, of course, the focal point of that movie. Coach Mike Rodick says you're talking about him like he passed away. Oh. Gilman says Jimmy Chitwood is still draining long twos. Yes, there were no threes when Jimmy Chitwood played for the Hickory Huskers. Hackman co-starred with Morgan Freeman in Under Suspicion, with Keanu Reeves in The Replacements. He plays a great role in that. The Replacements is not a critically acclaimed movie, but it's a fun movie to watch. He was with Owen Wilson in Behind Enemy Lines, which is just another version of Uncommon Valor or Bat 21, in my opinion. He was with Sigourney Weaver in Heartbreakers in 2001, and he appeared in the David Mamet crime thriller Heist in 2001. By the way, it's Mamet. Mamet. Plays an aging professional thief of considerable skill who's forced into one final job in that one. He made a cameo in The Mexican. He gained much critical acclaim playing against type as the head of an eccentric family in Wes Anderson's comedy film The Royal Tenenbaums. He's absolutely hilarious in that movie, for which he received the Golden Globe Award for Best Actor in a Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy. He was in another John Grisham legal drama, Runaway Jury. Long last, he gets to make a movie with his longtime friend, Dustin Hoffman. In 2004, Hackman appeared alongside Ray Romano in the comedy Welcome to Mooseport, his final acting role on film. He was honored with the Cecil B. DeMille Award from the Golden Globe Awards for his outstanding contribution to the entertainment field in 2003. July 7th, 2004, Hackman gave a rare interview to Larry King where he announced that he had no future film projects lined up and believed his acting career was over. He did some narration of some NFL films documentaries, and he started writing novels. And he confirmed in 2008 that he had indeed retired from acting. Speaking on his retirement in 2009, he said, "The straw that broke the camel's back was actually a stress test that I took in New York. The doctor advised me that my heart wasn't in the kind of shape that I should be putting it under any stress." When asked during a GQ interview in 2011 if he would ever come out of retirement to do another film, he said he might consider it if I could do it in my own house. Maybe, without them disturbing anything and just one or two people. He briefly came out of retirement to narrate 2 documentaries related to the United States Marine Corps. And he did write some books, 3 historical fiction novels: Wake of the Perdido Star in 1999, A Sea Adventure of the 19th Century, Justice for None, and a Depression-era tale of murder based on a real-life crime in his hometown of Danville, Illinois, called Escape from Andersonville, about a prison escape during the American Civil War. His first solo effort, those were co-written with a guy named Daniel Lenihan. His first solo effort was a story of love and revenge in the Old West titled Payback at Morning Peak. His final novel, Pursuit, a police thriller, was released in 2013. He married a woman by the name of Faye Maltese in 1956, with whom he had a son and 2 daughters. And he was often out on location making films while the children were growing up. The couple divorced after 30 years of marriage in 1986. In 1991, he married classical pianist Betsy Arakawa. Apparently, he met her. She was working part-time at a fitness center. That's where he met her. They shared a Santa Fe, New Mexico home, which Architectural Digest featured in 1990. At the time, the home blended Southwestern styles and was at the crest of a 12-acre hilltop. There you go. You know, Gene Hackman was a supporter of the Democratic Party, but he was very fond of President Ronald Reagan. In the 70s, Hackman competed in Sports Car Club of America races, driving an open-wheeled Formula Ford. In 1983, he drove a Dan Gurney Team Toyota in the 24 Hours of Daytona endurance race. He also won the Grand Prix of Long Beach celebrity race. For some reason, I couldn't find out why, he was a huge fan of the Jacksonville Jaguars and regularly attended Jaguars games as a guest of former head coach Jack Del Rio, who he had met during Del Rio's playing days at USC. He was also interested in architecture and design, and as of 1990, he had created 10 homes, 2 of which were featured in Architectural Digest. After a period of time, he moved on to house restoration. He said, I don't know what's wrong with me. I guess I like the process. When it's over, it's over. And as of 2018, he was an active cyclist. He did have health problems over the years. In 1990, Gene Hackman underwent an angioplasty. He was struck by a pickup truck while he was cycling in 2012. Initially, it was reported he'd suffered a serious head trauma, but his publicist stated that his injury was nothing more than bumps and bruises. Now, boy, oh boy. Let's get into this. Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa, and one of their 3 dogs was found dead at their home in Santa Fe, New Mexico, just yesterday. Their bodies were found by a maintenance worker. Hackman was found in the mudroom. Arakawa was found in the bathroom, and both their bodies showed signs of decay. They had not been seen for 2 weeks. The couple's 2 other dogs were found alive on the property with prescription pills scattered through the bathroom and a pill bottle near Arakawa's body. Now, some people have said, did she commit suicide? Highly unlikely that someone would take pills and stand there. More likely that something else happened. The New Mexico Gas Company was called out to investigate. They said that there was no problem with any of the lines. Now, the doors were apparently open for whatever reason. There was some conjecture. Was there a gas leak? Was it carbon monoxide poisoning? We don't know yet. Just today, the Santa Fe County Sheriff's Department said there were no significant signs of foul play, but did not initially provide a time or cause of death. Later the same day, the sheriff told news that the couple appeared to have died at least a day before their bodies were discovered. The report I read said that Miss Arakawa's hands and feet showed signs of mummification, so that would indicate it was a lot longer than a day. The lack of gas or carbon monoxide found by the fire department led investigators to question their initial suggestion of a gas or carbon monoxide leak as the cause of death. The sheriff's department is investigating. So we just don't know. We simply don't know. Numerous members of the film industry have paid tribute to Hackman since his death. Clint Eastwood wrote in a statement, "There was no finer actor than Gene. Intense and instinctive. Never a false note. He was also a dear friend whom I will miss very much." Francis Ford Coppola wrote, "Gene Hackman was a great actor, inspiring and magnificent in his work and complexity. I mourn his loss and I celebrate his existence and contribution." Others who paid tribute include Morgan Freeman, Tom Hanks, Viola Davis, Alec Baldwin, Gwyneth Paltrow, Josh Brolin, Nathan Lane, James Woods, Antonio Banderas, Dan Aykroyd, and Hank Azaria. BAFTA President Prince William also released a statement which read in part, "Hackman was a true genius of film who brought each and every character to life with power, authenticity, and star quality." The Guardian film critic Peter Bradshaw wrote that Hackman's death marks the end of one of the greatest periods of U.S. cinema, the American New Wave. He was the character actor who was really a star, and in fact, the star of every scene he was in. That tough, wised-up, intelligent, but unhandsome face perpetually on the verge of coolly, unconcerned derision, or creased in a heartbreakingly fatherly, pained smile. So there we are. The life of Gene Hackman. I'm sure they'll get to the bottom of what actually happened in no time at all. She could have had a heart attack. She could have been overcome by fumes. We're just never, ever really going to know until they do their investigation. Let me see here. Like Kevin Bacon, you could possibly play 6 Degrees with Gene Hackman. It would be easy to do. He was in so many films. Here's a story, and this may be apocryphal, and I don't know that it's true, but I know I did read it somewhere. There was a period in his career when he became a star. And if you wanted Gene Hackman to consider a script, you had to put $1 million in escrow, sort of, in a bank account. And he would consider it with that million in the bank. If he decided not to do it, he'd give you the million back, but he kept all the interest. And the story that I had read commented on the fact that he took a long time to consider that script. He took like 6 months to get that interest while he was considering it, which I just considered, hey man, if you can, why not? And it's kind of good business. Kim Warfield, The Wolf, says, David Mamet, The Pervish Water Engine, James Macy. I did not know he authored some books, too. He did. Chef said, I'm sorry, everybody. I have to say good night, Gracie. Good night, and good travels there for you, Chef. Positive Patriot says, someone needs to question the 2 surviving dogs who were apparently out playing in the yard. And that brings to mind, did one of the other dogs eat some of the spilled pills? Who knows? Or maybe there was some German chocolate in the house. You know, dogs and chocolate do not go well together. Metal Maiden Vicky, thank you so much for the $2. I appreciate it. For that, you, of course, will receive the point. Always learn something new on the Tom Gulley Show. Well, we hope. We try. We strive. Gilman says, where's Columbo when you need him? Send in Rich and Adrian to solve this. Yes. The Wolf says $1 million. $1 million. Indeed. So, farewell, a fond farewell to the late, great Gene Hackman. I believe that's on his book tour right there. But many, many great... He actually did a film called Community Shelter Planning, where he played Donald Ross, civil defense engineer. That was a training film. It wasn't a training film. But just so many good movies. I already ran through them all. Maybe you guys can tell me your favorite Gene Hackman film. He was on a lot of television, but Gene Hackman is a little bit like Robert Duvall in that he did television up till about the time he got his first Academy Award nomination in 1967, when he was really working a lot, and did one more TV appearance in 1968, and that was it. He was a movie star, starting especially in 1971 with his Academy Award for playing Popeye Doyle in The French Connection. After that, he would only play himself or narrate TV productions like America's Game, the Super Bowl Champions. He was the narrator, and he was the narrator of those 2 Marine Corps documentaries. Interestingly enough, he played himself in an episode of Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, which I just consider to be bizarre. And that is really all I have to tell you today about the late, great Gene Hackman. There we are. We're going to do, tomorrow, we will do Lost in Space. I pushed it back a day because of the passing of Gene Hackman. Let's see here. Boom, get that going. Enemy of the State and Unforgiven were my favorite roles he played. Both of them incredibly good. He played a surprisingly good villain. The Quick and the Dead, many other films. He was a really good bad guy for some reason. He was really good at it. But he's in a bunch of my favorite films, like Bite the Bullet. If you've never seen Bite the Bullet, it's really good. By the way, if you're watching, please, please, please like, share, subscribe, retweet. It just takes a second to hit that like or subscribe button, and it helps us with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-seeing algorithm. Plus, we do have the super chats. We've already had a couple generous people super chat us here this evening, and it really helps us pay the bills around here. So that's always warmly appreciated. And turn on those gifted memberships in case somebody dishes out some gifted memberships. Gilman says, I think it's time for me to play ball. I play, coach stays. He goes, I go. I think it's about time for me to start playing ball. Okay, I'll just tell you, just from Hoosiers, if I got something I can tear up here, I don't like to do this. I don't like wasting my valuable 3x5 cards. When my friends and I go out to lunch or dinner or whatever, and they bring the bill, and if I'm picking up the tab or whatever, or whoever, you get the bill, and you go, coach stays. You'd have to have seen the movie. By the way, there's that great long shot with Jimmy Chitwood and Coach, where Jimmy is just nailing every shot. And then when Coach goes, I don't care if you play or not, that's when he misses his first shot. That's when he gets put off his game. That's when he misses that first shot. By the way, phone lines are open at 972-994-6822. If you would like to call in, the phone lines are open. Nothing better than a Gene Hackman sort of soliloquy. There you go. Coach stays. Coach stays. There's nothing better than a Gene Hackman soliloquy in a movie. Asaltos, Cubanos, asaltos. He's so good. So good. Chitwood. Jimmy Chitwood. That's his name. Jimmy Chitwood. Please. And I don't know why we're listening to somebody who's been a boat for 10 years. If he goes to Terhune, we're sunk. Yeah, you got to see Hoosiers. You got to see. Just watch a Gene Hackman movie. I think it's almost impossible for there not to be at least one, just one Gene Hackman movie that somebody doesn't love. If it's not Unforgiven, there's got to be one. There's just got to be one. Were his eyes close together? No, that's another Chitwood that we both know. You could use a monocle for eyeglasses. That guy's eyes are so close together. You were out of position to make that call. What do you got? Pigeon droppings in your ears? I can't curse on this show. I'm sorry. Dennis. Wolf and I know all the mythology and lore behind the making of Hoosiers. All the guys on the Hickory team actually played, except for one, actually played like college basketball and were really good. And one of them's no longer with us. Got a taste of that Hollywood bug, and it didn't go well for him. And Melamine Vicky says, I'm not really into sports and have never seen Hoosiers, but I think I will watch now just for the cinematic quality and recommendations. Well, Dennis Hopper is in it too, and I think Hopper got nominated for Best Supporting Actor for that film. It's always, not always, it's always in the top 5, if not number 1, in Best Sports Movies. But you see, Hoosiers is not a sports movie in general. It's a story of redemption. It's a story of... It's an underdog story, and it's actually based on a true story. So I would recommend Hoosiers. And by the way, there's a little love story in it too. Not much. There's a teeny little love story in it as well. But it's a feel-good movie. It really is. Yes, it is the underdog story. When I was growing up, and when the Wolf was growing up, Indiana was unique in that they didn't have classes for basketball. Everybody, the biggest and the smallest schools, played for the state championship. And very frequently, because of Indiana being the basketball capital of the world, little schools would perform very well, but they could never really win it. The big schools would eventually beat them. And it's based on the 1951 Milan High School. Milan High School that did win the state championship over the school that's won more championships than any other at the time, single class, Muncie Central. So it's based on a true story. Many of the things that happen in Hoosiers actually happen. Hershey, Barbara Hershey, yeah, good old. Boy, that's a tough love story with Barbara Hershey in that one too, man. She's not the most affectionate lady on earth to begin with. Mister, the sun don't shine on every what was Mister? The sun don't shine on a dog. What is it? The sun don't shine on a dog every day, but your ass ain't seen a ray of light since you got here. Let's see here. Bridge Too Far was a love story. Yes, it was a love story between James Caan and Dirk Benedict. No, it wasn't. The only female I can think of in A Bridge Too Far would be Liv Ullmann, who played the lady who had her house taken over by the Allied forces. But A Bridge Too Far had everybody in it. Everybody was in A Bridge Too Far. Robert Redford, Elliot Gould, Ryan O'Neal, Gene Hackman, James Caan. Just everybody was there. Tons of British actors, of course. Sir Laurence Olivier. It was a blockbuster. And it's watchable. It's pretty good. Is it incredible? No, it's not incredible. It's not incredible. It's not incredible. No, I'm sorry. It's not incredible. But it's pretty good, you know. It's not bad. It's all right. It's okay, you know. It's not too bad. Oh, yeah, Terry Nee, kind enough. I mentioned it on yesterday's show. Kind enough. I'd seen this embarrassing Ball State basketball clip like a week ago. I get a direct message from Terry Nee on Twitter, and he's kind enough to remind me of it. And it was even more humiliating and shameful that Terry Nee sent it to me. Metal Maiden Vicky says, I never saw A Bridge Too Far either. Great cast. It's a long movie. Edward Fox is in it. And Michael Caine is in it. And just a lot of big blockbusters. It was a big blockbuster. Big old blockbuster movie. Epic in its scale. Sean Connery, Anthony Hopkins. Everybody was in it. I mean everybody. So Gene Hackman will be missed. He hasn't acted since 2007 or 4, but quite a prolific actor too. Boy, would he work. Did lots of movies. I watch Loose Cannons, which is the buddy movie that he did with Dan Aykroyd. And I just feel sorry for Gene Hackman. I get the feeling that it was like they offered him so much money that he couldn't turn it down. Terry Nee says, I heard somewhere Hackman offered to be in Young Frankenstein for nothing. I forget where. I do believe he did that for nothing. And I also believe that he's not credited. He's not credited. Let's see here. Boom, shakalaka. Let me see here if I can find. He did it for regular scale pay, is what he's with the union, so he probably couldn't do it for nothing. So he did it for regular scale pay. When it was originally released in the theaters, he was uncredited. The cast, especially Mel Brooks, had so much fun and were so upset when principal photography was almost completed that Brooks added scenes to continue shooting. And I think that was one of them. Let's see here. It says, He was uncredited in the movie, and he played the role for scale because he wanted to try doing comedy. He was not known as doing comedy. So there we go. There we go on that. I'm trying to find. Let me see if I can find that story. Great appearances, Poseidon Adventure. Birdcage, he was in Ants, The Replacements. Where's the one that's just a thing? You stupid article. You stupid article. You said that this was going to be the thing. Okay. Somewhere there's the story. Mel Brooks actually tells the story of what actually happened there. I'll try to find it again here. God, I hate AI. Always wrong. Should be AW. Always wrong. Come on. International Day. There's a whole story about it. Oh, well. Try one more thing here. By the way, Hackman's wife was 31 years younger than him. She was 64. Oh, well, we'll get to the bottom of it at another time. But the story that I recall is that he knew Mel Brooks and wanted to do comedy. So he offered to do that and be made up and everything else and not get any credit. So there you are, 972-994-6822 if you want to call in. If not, that's okay too. We are going to end this one right at the top of the hour anyway. So there you go. There you go. That's what's going on with the legendary Gene Hackman. I guess I could check and see if there's any newer news regarding the passing of Gene Hackman. There might be. No, there's not. The family, at least 12 hours ago, suspected carbon monoxide poisoning. They're saying that Gene Hackman and his wife have been deceased for some time. Update. Yeah, the update from 3 hours ago. Let's see. Preliminary autopsy. Oh yeah, that's one thing they did say, is that there were no external trauma to either individual. In other words, they weren't shot, they weren't hit in the head, there's no external trauma. Carbon monoxide and toxicology tests have been requested for both Hackman and Arakawa. No obvious sign or indication of foul play. Obvious. We mentioned the scattered pills that were found. A space heater was found near Arakawa's head, and a dog was found dead in the bathroom closet. It does not mention whether that space heater was electric or kerosene or anything else. Hackman's body was discovered on the ground in another room near the kitchen. The deputy suspected that the male individual had suddenly fallen. The front door was open and unsecured, and there were no signs of forced entry or theft. The bodies of Hackman and Arakawa were first discovered by someone who identified themselves as a caretaker According to a 911 call obtained by CNN on Thursday, in the affidavit, the deputy had said maintenance workers found the couple dead. The call to 911 was made just before 2 p.m. local time in Santa Fe on Wednesday, according to law enforcement. The caller was emotional when they described the scene to the 911 dispatcher, noting they could not enter the home but could see two unconscious people through the window. So it seems like the doors were open when the police got there, but when this caretaker arrived, they couldn't get in. "No, dude, they're not moving. Just send somebody out here really quick," the caretaker told the dispatcher. The investigation found no immediate signs of a carbon monoxide leak or natural gas leak. The search warrant application requested permission to look for any possible combustible materials, controlled substances, weapons, DNA, and other potential evidence. It was not immediately clear if the more thorough search had taken place yet or what further evidence may have been seized. Medical examiners report the final cause of death generally take anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks to generate, said Chris Ramirez, spokesperson for the New Mexico Medical Investigative. "We want to make sure that we get the investigation completed properly, and we want to release the proper information," Mendoza said today. In a family statement, Hackman's daughters and granddaughter said the actor's family is devastated by the loss. The Oscar-winning actor's death comes just days before the Academy Awards this weekend. A source familiar with the behind-the-scenes planning at the Oscars told CNN Gene Hackman will be honored at Sunday's ceremony. Details are not locked in yet, but one possible scenario, the source said, is editing the in memoriam montage to include Hackman's contributions to cinema. Another possibility is a scripted mention of Hackman's passing on stage, perhaps by host Conan O'Brien or another entertainer who would pay tribute to the acting legend. There we are. Let's see if I can find any other tributes. Actor and writer George Takei called Hackman one of the true giants of the screen in a social media post. Gene Hackman could play anyone, and you could feel a whole life behind it. He could be everyone and no one, a towering presence, or an everyday Joe, Takei wrote. He will be missed, but his work will live on forever. Hackman was 36 years old before he broke through in 1967's Bonnie and Clyde, part he got after losing the role of Mr. Robinson in The Graduate. Truck driver, doorman. There we go. He had been largely out of the public eye, by the way, for many years. Largely. I think it was 2008 was his last public appearance. So there we are. That's a nice photo of Gene. Also, aesthetically speaking, a lovely colored shirt, too. Compliments to his complexion. Yeah, I don't like this picture. I have it, but I don't like it. If I was to, well, I can make it a little bigger here, but his nose is all red at the end and stuff. He's up there, but like I said, he hasn't been seen in so many years. Maybe we just don't know what he looks like at an older age. I'll put the picture, Maiden Vic, he likes up a little bit better. Something doesn't add up here still. Well, we don't know that. I've worked a lot with law enforcement, and you don't know until they're done. Till they're done. Yeah, dog in closet, weird. Wait, have the scattered pills been identified? Not yet. The police don't do that. The coroner's office and the medical office does that. Positive Patriot said they should sweep the area with a black light or something. Well, I'm sure they'll take all of your suggestions to heart as they process the body of Gene Hackman. Tomorrow night, we will be doing Lost in Space. There will be no overrated, underrated. I know, it's a tragedy, but we won't. Let's see here. Exothalamus 1, not to be confused with the regular exothalamus. says it was CO2. Very well could have been. Or maybe not. It seems as if it's something that overcame the both of them. In other words, unless he fell down and died and she committed whatever, it's difficult to tell. And that's just speculation, which I shouldn't even really be doing, but we don't know. Phone lines are closed, by the way. Coach Mike Rodick says, you're right, Tom. We don't know what we don't know at this time. We do not. We do not. And they'll get to the bottom of it, and it won't really matter because they're both gone, and he was 95 years old after all. But she was only 64, so I'm not liking that part of it. I'm not too far away from there myself, but I'm sure we'll get to the bottom of the whole thing. We'll get to the bottom of it. Not we, but somebody will. Well, at any rate, that is all I really have to tell you about the late great Gene Hackman. I may watch Hoosiers this evening. I may not, but it would be nice to watch something by Gene Hackman. If you can, try and watch Scarecrow. That's what Gene Hackman says is his favorite role that he ever played, and it was early in his career. Julian Zeezer, good to see you. He says, hi all. I accidentally had carbon dioxide poisoning years ago, and it's difficult to realize what's happening when it's going on. And any poisoning by gas depends on the concentration, and if it is taking the place of oxygen, even helium, or you name it, you can be out very quickly as well, depending on the concentration. Metal Maiden Vicky says, I wonder what will happen to the two dogs that were alive and outside. The account that I read said that the dogs were with the animal control people and that they assumed the family would be deciding what to do with the two canines. Hi, Julian, and damn, sorry to hear that. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that too, Julian Zeezer, although it does explain a lot. Just saying. I'm kidding. We're all having fun here. We're all trying to get our spirits up because Gene Hackman's not with us anymore. Here's the younger Gene Hackman. Look at that guy. That was taken the year after he won that Academy Award for Best Actor. Let's see what we got here. Julian Zeezer says it makes you breathe rapidly, almost like what you might imagine a heart attack is like. I could imagine someone grabbing pills to try to help. That's conceivable. Okay, cool. Pasta Patriot is laughing. And when you get that Academy Award, particularly for Best Actor or Actress, your career, you're good for life. You're good for life. Well, that's going to do it for tonight's show, I guess. Well, you don't think it was some kind of a Hollywood sacrifice, right? No, I don't, particularly since they lived in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And I just don't. It just doesn't seem like that sort of thing. Hey, I'd really like to thank once more our two very generous people, Doc Torn and Metal Maiden Vicky, for donating to the program this evening. For that, you received not just one, but 2 points. 2 of the point. There you are. How can you do any better than that? Exophthalamus 1 says, love you, Tom. Love you right back. Love you right back. With all that being said, tomorrow night we will do Lost in Space. It'll be a blast. And with all that being said, I think I'm looking at that old clock on the wall, and it says, like the Reverend Al Green, it's time for me to get on up out of here after I read this. Metal Main Vicky says, good show tonight. Thanks for covering the like of Gene Hackman. Yeah, he had a very long career. Got started late in life as far as being a star and was very workmanlike. Some interesting things about his life and background before he did start getting roles in film and TV. So, there you go. Good night all, says Metal Maiden Vicky. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. And with all that being said, hold on here. Thanks, Tom. Great show as usual. Well, thank you. Please share it with your friends. Tell them how much you like it. Go onto your Facebook or your Twitter or whatever you do and share it. Share the link. That would help me out a lot. Thanks. Good night, all. Okay, let's just say till next time. Well, let's get this guy down here first. Till next time. We'll see you next time.